Let's see if this thing's going. I think it's working. Is it working yet? Okay. Hey guys, welcome to today's version of Mindset Monday. We're going to be talking about a topic that is really near and dear to my heart, which most of them are on Mindset Mondays, and that is overcoming decision fatigue. What the heck is decision fatigue? Why is it something we should be talking about? Let's get into it. If you are, you know, catching this live, make sure to hashtag I'm here or here. And if you're catching a replay, make sure to hashtag replay. I do pay attention and I do go in and comment on all of your lovely comments afterwards. So it means a lot to me whenever you do leave a little message. I do pay attention who's paying attention, if that makes any sense. Today has been a day. Today there was a whole bunch of server issues. So there's this giant, okay, there's been maybe about 8 companies, but 4 hold most of the monopoly for online like cloud servers and stuff. And today's was Amazon's, and it's one of the biggest ones. So there was multi-million businesses, apps, everything else that was affected by it. So unfortunately, we were part of them. And you guys might be having a totally fine time using the app, Nana. Thank you, love. But like, so when I went in on my client portal, because I also have myself on the app too for like my workouts and stuff, the client portal was completely fine, but where it wasn't was the trainer side. So like the programming, the accessing my messages, and like having all of that stuff come out really live. Come out functioning was a whole different story. So as we're getting into things here, let's kind of touch base. My dogs are very antsy from the rain keeping them inside. My kids, you know, having a little nap at the moment, so that's great. And it gives us a chance to get into this. So let's get into this a little bit. What is decision fatigue? Well, basically what we want to do is to lower the amount of decisions that we make in a day, because we make hundreds, sometimes even thousands of decisions every day, and not all of them are straightforward. Who should we hire? What do we make for dinner? When should I work out? What clothing am I wearing? Do I really want another coffee at this hour? What time am I going to bed? Da, da, da. Okay. Sometimes the volume, the complexity, or the potential impact of the decisions that we make can leave us physically, mentally, and emotionally drained. So, like, to the point where even do you want fries or a salad? It feels like the world's biggest jigsaw puzzle, okay? So, you know, let's talk about a couple things. One, what is it? What it is not, how to spot it, and how to prevent it, but also how to get through it in a wellness sense. So, those are my big and main focuses that I want to take with you guys. That being said, let's get into it. Um, okay, I've done a little bit of research into this. I have a couple notes, so forgive my looking down because I want to make sure that I'm giving you guys accurate information and I am not misquoting things. So, um, Dr. Duke is a registered psychotherapist, and she mentioned that decision fatigue is basically a phenomenon. It's not a medical condition, but it's a thing that happens where the more decisions a person makes over the course of a day, the more physically, mentally, and emotionally depleted we become. So, a person who's facing decision fatigue struggles, they're going to have a hard time with executive functioning. So, like the easier things like fries or salad, what to make for dinner, etc. And what it can do is have a wide range of consequences, including impairing our judgment, impairing decisions, etc. It happens from a couple things: making lots of decisions every single day, whenever your decisions impact other people, if you're in the middle of a difficult situation, if you're being faced with uncertainty, or if you have a little bit of a type A personality, it can make things a little bit difficult. And sometimes we fall into not one, but multiple of those categories. And it's something that's really good for us to note, right? Some symptoms of it that you guys may or may not be aware of, there's kind of 8 main ones that I've come across. It's decision fatigue is just a short, like momentary glimpse into somebody's life. It's not a medical condition, it's not a long term condition, it's a momentary blip within your day to day that you can experience. So, some of these, you know, could be implying that there's something more going on, but if we're feeling constant procrastination or like decision avoidance, that's where, you know, you have an appointment that can be pushed off. Well, shoot, speaking of which, I have to get to the Cairo in an hour. Oh no. Anyways, speaking of which, this is one of those moments. See, case in point. So, what was I saying? Oh my gosh. Okay, this is just a perfect example of what exhaustion looks like. Anyways, procrastination or, you know, avoiding things is like pushing it until later. And what we can kind of see there is that a common response to decision fatigue is to like push it till tomorrow. I like to say it's a tomorrow problem. All right. I try not to do it too often, but sometimes if there's something that can literally wait till tomorrow, I will say that is a tomorrow problem. Another symptom might be impulsivity. You know, if you've been making really hard decisions or complex decisions all day, you could be a little bit careless or careless about decisions you make, right? It could be a form of exhaustion. Seus, minaka. It could be brain fog. It could be some irritability, feelings of overwhelm. Come here. It could be maybe regret. It could be physical discomfort. There's a whole bunch of things that kind of go on here. And the big thing is that your brain doesn't function as highly as it should. I want to make sure that you guys understand though, the decision fatigue is not a chronic thing. Like I said, it's short-lived, it's acute, and it's something that doesn't live in us day in and day out, okay? Here's kind of the difference or how to understand if it is turning into something chronic, it is something else, okay? Decision fatigue is not something that we typically face day in and day out. It's a temporary thing, and you'll have a quick recovery, okay? You'll probably feel better in a couple days, and you'll get back to normal functioning. But if you're feeling those symptoms of decision fatigue on the daily, it's probably a good idea to go talk to somebody because it could be forms of anxiety or PTSD or depression or a mental health issue that might need to be addressed, okay? It can also be a sign of burnout if it's more chronic. So just keep all of those things in mind. Excuse me, no. That being said, let's get into a couple things of how to overcome it. And I really want to focus this in a wellness sense, okay? So if you are here right now, make sure to hashtag I'm here, like I said. And if you're catching a replay, make sure to hashtag replay. I'm just going to actually go open up. So Facebook Live does not allow me to see live comments as they're popping up. So I always like to open up a secondary tab just to like see if there's any comments coming in. So let's just do this. Okay. Now, this all being said, let us get into the really fun stuff. How do we get over this? In a wellness sense, in a fitness sense, in a personal sense, because we've all been there. The end of the day comes and someone asks what's for dinner, and you stand there staring at the fridge for what seems like an eternity trying to figure out what the heck to make. This is one of the most classic examples. Another one might be like, when you ask what you want for dinner, I don't know. What do you want to eat? I don't know. Whatever you want. No, whatever you want. And it turns into that giant battle. These are the big things that are important to note. So that being said, I want to make sure that you guys are aware of that and you know that it's really common, like super common to have this pop up once in a while. So for us to get over things like this, we want to focus on a couple different strategies, okay? We're going to break it down into 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, let's do 4 sections, okay? I have a couple notes and I'm just going to simplify it down here because I am fried. I've been awake for 12 hours on 2.5 hours of sleep, so this is fine. I have a teething toddler that is refusing naps, so life is interesting. And then with this whole AWS thing, like the whole internet server thing down, I have been fighting my computer for the last like literally 10 hours. So when push comes to shove, guys. Anyways, first section is kind of automation. Let's put it as automation. Second section is management. Third is priorities. And fourth is delegation. So in the automation department here, we want to focus on automating or simplifying our choices. There's three main things that we can do in this here. Number one is to establish routines. Automate your daily or weekly tasks, like your cleaning schedule. Maybe having meals on repeat throughout the week for a couple weeks can be helpful, like the same breakfast or the same lunches. And basically, the goal here is to reduce the amount of overall decisions you make. The second option here is to simplify things down. So we want to limit those choices available to us. So instead of, having countless options, maybe pick out your clothes for the week. Maybe pick out your clothes the night before if a week seems too much or you don't have space for it. Checklists are life. Keep a list of your recurring tasks, like a weekly meal plan, like I said, your exercise routine. If you guys want a habit instead in the app, like I have almost all of my habits that I need to focus on in the app. I think I have like five habits that I have in there. So like AM supplements, PM supplements, steps, water, take my Synthroid, which is my thyroid med, little things like that I can just check off. So if you need me to add anything or you want me to add anything into the app, let me know. We have, I think, up to 5 or 6 different habits we can add. Section 2 is management. And our focus here is going to be on managing our mental energy load, okay? We have a finite amount of energy in a day. If you're a Garmin user, you're going to be looking at your body battery. That's a thing that you can look at. But we can use that idea as like an analogy. So how much you sleep and you eat and you rest increases our battery life, and as many decisions and work and workouts and parenting and spousing and all the things take away from that, okay? High stress in particular. So we want to manage our mental energy, prioritizing a healthy battery life. So number one is to prioritize your decisions. What does that mean? That means that we want to tackle the most important and most complex decisions early in the day. Why? Because our mental energy is going to be at the highest. I was super high functioning this morning, and right now I feel like a mom bee. That's a mom zombie, in case you never heard that one. So prioritizing the big decisions earlier in the day is going to allow you to kind of zen out the rest of the day, okay? We also want to be focusing on taking breaks, making sure that we're incorporating short breaks throughout the day to rest our mind. So going on a walk, little mindfulness meditations, and all of these little breaks can actually help us restore cognitive function. So that could be like literally going around the block on your lunch break. That could be going and sitting in your car to avoid stimulus. That could be listening to the Headspace app. They've got like little 5-minute free meditations you can listen to. Little things like that. Actually, they're through Netflix on that one. But anyways, there's a couple little cool things like that you can implement. The third thing I want to focus on in management is aiming for just good enough. Okay, being less critical of ourselves and our choices. We never ever want perfection, especially here, right? We always want to aim for 1% better every single day. And what does that do? That allows us to have a little bit more of the aim of a satisfactory or a happy outcome instead of just the perfect one, okay? And that can save us time, mental stress, emotional stress, physical stress on stressing which decision to make, okay? Third is prioritization, mostly of the self-care aspect of this. Getting enough sleep. Quality sleep, specifically before midnight. This is huge for your hormones. Sleeping before midnight is huge for your hormones. And as somebody who's a night owl, like I am hardwired to go to bed at 2, 3 in the morning, easy, and wake up at like 9, 10. However, I want to level things up, so I'm forcing myself to become a morning person. Girls, it's crazy. That's all I'm going to say. Getting enough sleep before midnight in particular is one of the most important things you can do. Why? It improves our focus, our impulse control, aka food choices, workout choices, TV choices, everything. It can help us with emotional regulation. It can, help us with weight loss more than you know. Actually, that before bedtime sleep is super important. It's actually the most restorative. We can also focus on working out regularly. As you guys all know, there's many multitudes of benefits, creating new neural pathways because you're learning new movement patterns or different muscle uses because there's 3 types of contractions and all this fun stuff. Third is to engage in self-care activities, and that is to literally schedule time for relaxation and activities that help us recharge. So maybe it's puzzles, maybe it's a little bit of video games, maybe it's a walk outside. There are so many options. And the fourth is delegation. I want you to focus on delegating and collaborating with your surroundings as much as you can. So if you can delegate a task to somebody else, or delegate a decision to somebody else that doesn't require your input, do so. You can also reach out and ask for advice. That's what the group chat's for. That's what this group is for. That's what I'm here for. That's what your support network is for. If you don't have to make every decision alone, don't. Reaching out to trusted friends, family, your support network, etc., can be a very helpful tool in beating decision fatigue. So guys, if you are kind of surprised by any of these, just know that it's not abnormal. They happen. And if you find yourself, I just want to throw this out there, there is a proviso of when to get help. And that would be if you're figuring, like, you think that you should talk to somebody, you probably should talk to somebody. Okay, that's the big thing that came up in the research, is when to get help. Was if you're thinking of it, you probably should talk to somebody, at least just to get their 2 cents. Okay, anyways, that is like the overall here. Don't try to stress out too much. Make sure to just like take a minute to pause throughout the day, zen it out, and let me know what are your favorite tips and tricks to get through your versions of decision fatigue. I look forward to hearing back from you guys, and I'll talk to you soon.